Share your love and creativity for baking. Bake more memories with tried and trusted Royal Baking Powder. Last week on the Tastemaster SA, prepped with a Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus, contestants had to bake and capture their dream cookbook cover. Rochelle took top honors, and tonight the bottom 5 are baking to avoid elimination.
I didn't want to see myself in another elimination challenge, but I'm going to bake my way out of this.
I'm seriously not feeling okay. I got to work hard because I'm not going home.
Yes, deep breaths, Philip. It is elimination week, and for lots of you, that is a time for stress and major anxiety. But we always look on the bright side because it is an opportunity for you to do what you love, and that is to bake, right?
Yes.
With only 8 of you remaining, you can almost start tasting that grand prize, which of course is 150,000 Rand in cash courtesy of Capitec Business to further your career, because better never rests. Renuka, what would that mean for you?
150,000 Rand is a lot of money. Thank you, Capitec. I would use the money to renovate a space in my home purely for baking, where there's no entry, only I can go in. And then I would also use some of the money to take my family on a beautiful South African holiday.
Sure,
amazing.
Nice one. Along with the cash, of course, you will also receive 100,000 Rand to spend with Samsung, 100,000 Rands worth of KitchenAid equipment, and a blast chiller from Electrical Industries Online worth 65,000 Rand.
As if that amazing grand prize wasn't enough to bake for, this week is another double elimination.
Well, you must be dying to know what the theme of the challenge is this week, so let's put your curiosity to rest.
This might look like a humble pie, but there's so much more than meets the eye. See what I did there?
This is a pâté en croûte.
Pate on what? Hey, we had to do pate on
Pâté en croûte is a famous French bake, and it basically consists of a beautifully assembled terrine enclosed in pastry. It's traditionally served at room temperature, which basically makes it a Lani sausage roll.
We could also call it a private school pie. Why not?
Pate en croute is one of the most technical dishes I know.
I have never made a pate en croûte before. I'm nervous, but I'm really excited.
Hier kom groot moeilikheid. Dit lyk baie heerlik, maar hier kom groot moeilikheid.
To help you along and give you the skills to execute this particular challenge, we're sending you off to a masterclass where you'll meet this week's guest judges, 2 of Cape Town's top chefs. Enjoy the masterclass and learn a lot. Off you go.
I'm Jesper Nilsson, the head chef at ëlgr, and this is my wife, San-Mari, pastry chef.
We met at a restaurant called Grand Provence in Franschhoek. I was the pastry chef and Jesper was the ICA student, and was love at first sight.
The style of the restaurant in decor is definitely inspired by Nordic Scandinavian, pulled to my heritage, same as the name ëlgr, which means moose in ancient Nordic. We draw inspiration in techniques, how things have been made for a very, very long time. We're not really defined by anything, which is kind of what defines us, is that we don't follow rules.
I am really excited to see how the contestants are going to take a humble pate en croute, your mother's old school pie from the 80s, and transform it.
Not to mention how technically difficult it is. There's lots of elements here. You got the filling, you got the pastry, and you got the gel. These are 3 things that you have to look out for to make a perfect pate en croute.
It's going to be a tough one. I would be very nervous.
For this masterclass, we're going to have you guys doing a pate en croute. En croute means either in pastry or in a pie crust.
So we'll be doing a hot crust pastry. So with the dough itself, we've got some flour. We're just going to add a little bit of salt into our flour, and then a little bit of baking powder just to help stabilize. We're going to use duck fat and then water, bring that to the boil, and then we're going to add it to the dough.
I never thought actually of using animal fat in pastry. It really blows my mind completely.
This is a whole new out of my comfort zone thing.
So now we just bring this all together. So for the pate en croûte, because you are going to have a lid as well, we'll divide the dough into thirds. So 2/3 is the base of the pastry, and then the other third will go as your lid. So now we are going to let this rest and set. I like to make a flat round disc. It makes it so much easier when you roll out later.
In the Taste Master kitchen, time is of the essence, so anything to speed up time is what we need.
I'm gonna start up on the filling. So I've sauteed up a little bit of mushrooms. I'm gonna add my onions in here as well. I'm gonna dice up the pancetta. I'm gonna pick up my herbs, and then I'm gonna mix it all together. Okay, once I'm starting to see a bit of the color on the onions, I'm gonna start adding some oil. Okay. The reason I'm adding the herbs last is because I don't want to burn those flavors.
I always throw my herbs in the beginning, and I didn't know that it will actually burn, so it's really a tip that I will be taking on.
We're gonna now start combining and making our pate mixture itself. So I'm gonna combine these together, the beef mince and the pork mince, and then we're just gonna try and mix it as even as possible. So this is kind of what you wanna see. When you're moving it now, just like a dough, it's sticking together to itself.
All right, so now we have our set pastry. So now we are going to roll it out. We don't want too thick of a crust at the bottom, but also you don't want it to be too thin so it doesn't hold the meat filling.
And again, because you are working with fat, you want to try and be quick here. The more the fat gets soft, the more the dough is going to move, the more it's going to stretch when you bake it. So you want to try and keep it cold.
And now I'm just letting it fall inside. And then we want to have the edges hang over a little bit, because once the filling is inside, we put the lid on, we're going to crimp it to make it nice and pretty.
We're going to pop this back in the fridge now for a little bit, just to let it stiffen up, so that when I then manhandle it a bit down a little bit, it's not going to change shape.
Pastry is definitely something very delicate. You have to handle it with care, and sometimes I lose my patience.
All right, so now that the pastry has been chilling for a little bit, we are ready.
I'm going to make nice little balls with my hand, and then I'm going to pat them down, making sure that the meat goes all the way to the edges.
So if you guys want to add a little pattern, I can say, make a little indentation in the middle, and you can put some prunes, a nice array of something, dried fruit. And when you slice it, when it's baked, you have a little center of a prune in there.
So I'm also not going to fill this up like a meatloaf all the way, because we're going to put the lid on, and then you put little cones of foil in, so that the moisture from the pate itself can escape. Once it's done and cooled down again, you're gonna add a bit of beef broth or pork broth with gelatine in it to set around.
So we grab our second pastry.
Is it important to use a filling that will bake like an equally with the pastry?
The control that you get there is temperature. If you put this in the oven at 200 degrees, your pastry is gonna get done long before the filling itself. The goal is to cook the core before the pastry is overcooked. Go at a lower temperature. Make sure you get that time. Time management is going to be big for you guys, because this is something that traditionally you would do maybe over a day or two.
So first we're just going to crimp. So yeah, you are more than welcome to crimp however you feel like it. All right, just checking that everything is nice and sealed. I am going to just trim off all the big bits. So before we egg wash, you need to make your little indentations to put the cone in. So 3 cones is probably the best.
And then keep in mind that we are going to be pouring the gelatine in. So try and not push that hole so it sits into the mince itself, because then we're just going to pour and it's just going to be a little cup. You want it to actually, as we left a little bit of space there, you want it to fill in that space completely.
And now we're just going to egg wash as well. All right, and there we go. Now it is time for the cones, and then we go into the oven to bake.
Something I didn't know was creating cones with foil, and this was a great tip, and I will definitely be using this going forward.
So we're going to bake it at around 160 to 175 degrees. A nice tip for you guys, internal temperature around 78 degrees. That's a good place to take it out and chill it down immediately.
What freaks me out is, will there be enough time for this challenge?
So now that the pastry has come out the oven, let it cool down to room temperature. And now we are going to add the gelatine pork broth.
So we're sponging the gelatine in ice water. We're just gonna soak it until it starts getting nice and soft. We're gonna add it to our just around boiling temperature beef broth and let it dissolve. You don't wanna pour it in while it's still like boiling hot. Rather let it cool down a little bit, because then it will set faster in here.
After the gelatine set, we are ready to slice and enjoy it.
Die pate en croute kom fantasties by mekaar. Dit wys net as 2 persone saamkom en kook met liefde.
The moment of truth. Dum 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 dum. Okay, here we go. Right, guys, come taste.
Looks so scrumptious. I just want to get in there.
It's delish.
It's crisp, it's crunchy, it's got a dimension of textures. It's really good.
Bring it on, Elimination Challenge.
Up next, the challenge begins as the bottom 5 take on their most technical bake yet. Prepare to be proud with Olive Pride, endorsed by the Heart and Stroke Foundation, made with love by Clover.
Right, now that you understand the mechanics of this bake, it's time to create your own. We want to see your South African-inspired version of the pâté en croûte. So be creative with your flavors and your textures.
We, of course, want to see perfectly baked pastry. We want to see a visually captivating cross-section. And of course, we want bucket loads of local flavor. You'll have 3 hours for today's bake, after which we will allow your bakes to cool before we commence with tasting.
And your time starts in 3, 2, 1. Pate away, guys.
As the time starts, I'm quite energetic. I love my concept that I came up with. Today, I'll be making a biltong potjie pate en croute. I put my dry ingredients in my mixing bowl, flour, salt, activated charcoal, a little bit of baking powder, and also some biltong powder. It does not feel good to be in another elimination. Your heart is beating faster than it should.
I am using the ghee for my rough puff pastry, and my filling is going to be inspired by bobotie.
I'm gonna go for a more light, fluffy, airy, and a crispy kind of pastry. So royal baking powder will be then very helpful in this challenge. I don't want to go home. I'm not only here for myself, I'm representing my province, my family, so I refuse. Welcome to Bonita Park, my world. We're in the Northern Cape, baby. My great-grandfather and grandmother built one of the first houses in Bonita Park and also the first church in Bonita Park. My father was born here and me and my brother, we were born inside the house, not in hospital. My grandfather stayed here, my father stayed here, then we are here, our children is here, and then Ravon's child is here, 6 generations.
Philip is surrounded by family and shares a home with his mom, stepdad, and younger brother. His married sister lives just around the corner, making family gatherings a daily occurrence. His community shares a special bond with the local farms in the area, and growing up with pecan nuts at a close friend's farm, Philip fell in love with baking and started to dream of being one of the best pastry chefs in the world.
Ek is baie mal oor pekanneute en gelukkig het ek 'n vriend org. So ek kan maar altyd kom pekanneute kry en dan my piesangbrood daarmee bak. The reason why I love baking is because I can express myself. Everything I go through, I put it into my baking, and specifically laugh. Even when I'm sad, that's now when I'm baking at my best. Winning the Taste Master is the ultimate goal because my bakery is on the way, pastry school is on the way. I need it, come to Papa.
Ons begin met die lekker pie crust deegie, royal baking powder, koekmeel, unsalted clover butter, bietjie sout en ons gaan dit meng met yswatertjies. I've never in my entire life made pastry, so I'm freaking out inside.
This, I think, is one of our most challenging challenges that we've given them because it is quite a mammoth task. So what are some of the pitfalls that you think they might come across in this challenge?
I think from pastry side that it can be a soggy bottom.
Oh, nobody wants that.
Or if, in the final bake when they pour the broth in, seeps through. From meat side, what do you think?
We want it to be very firm, not crumbling. Nice patterns is always a bonus for pâté en croûte, the layering of items inside.
Yeah, and if it's seasoned correctly.
Oh, that's a big one.
Obviously, we've got all these technical aspects that need to go right for them, but what we want to see is that step further. We want to see them embrace the South African flavors, and we want to see innovation and creativity. And I think with the demands already placed on them, that's going to be a tall order.
Not to mention that the time factor is going to be a big thing here as well.
So I'm doing the hot water pastry. And this is my bake. I just want to rename it from that other beautiful French name, like in Oma se valsel in 'n kors.
Ah, he's renamed the entire bake. Okay.
So I'm gonna do lamb chops, but I'm gonna use that as my filling with lamb mince, with a nachi glaze.
I'm just curious with the nachi, how that's going to play with the lamb. Did you think about that flavor?
Now the glaze I'm gonna use afterwards, just
So
to
on
give
the pastry.
on the pastry,
So
give it a shine.
okay,
So it doesn't play an important role in the thingy.
It might. It might.
In a samosa, you usually get lots of onions because that adds the flavor. When I saw the pâté and croute,
It's all right, you did well. You did well.
yeah. So when I saw the pastry encased in a meat filling, I immediately thought of a lamb samosa. And then I decided to add medjool dates to the bakes.
Lovely. That sounds delicious. I quite like the sweet aspect that is coming through, it's showing a little bit more Cape Malay style South African flavor as well.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yeah. On the side, there will be a tamarind and date chutney.
Another elimination. It must be your lucky streak.
You like this face card, I think.
I do like that face card. It's cute.
You guys keep wanting to see me back in this kitchen, so here I am.
Do you want to just quickly tell me what pastry you've got going here?
The pastry I have going is a rough puff, but I use ghee instead of normal butter.
A puff pastry can always work. So we're going to look for those pastry layers.
Yes,
So
we want
It's
to.
a rough puff, not a normal puff.
Puff still puffs. Still puffs.
Ooh, a black dough. Tell me more.
The black pastry is basically to imitate the look of a potjie pot.
That's brilliant.
I am making my meat filling using beef mince, bacon, also including some biltong. A lot can go wrong, and unfortunately, this is a bake that only in the reveal when they cut it, you see, oh, I messed up.
I'm frying my shallots with some garlic. I'm now going to add some carrots, so I chop that up and add it into the pan.
Today I'm going to use my morogo in two different ways. One is a side dish. As South Africans, we eat our morogo with onions and potatoes. And then the other part of the morogo with my mince in the filling.
Braai is, of course, different meats.
Yes.
So I'll have my lean beef, then I have different sausages going into it, the traditional boerenbors.
Okay.
And then I also have a pork sausages.
So we're going to have the sausage still in the casing, or are you going to remove the little skin around it?
Some I'm going to remove and some I'm going to keep.
And you're not worried about that sort of pulling when you cut it?
Zola, moet jy nou van my kom praat? Nou gaan ek nou dink.
Ek
Jo.
moes vra. Ek moes. That's what I'm here for.
I season my meat with a mixed braai spice, and then I just round it off with some nice extra virgin olive oil. I'm gonna use the blowtorch because I need that smoky flavor in my meat.
I am smoking some raisins. I think it will add like an extra layer of flavor.
Philip, what's that look on your face?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to work this now because the pastry became hard again.
If you move it around a little bit on top, you can help warm it up a little bit.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that tip.
No problem.
Ek is verskriklik baie trots. Dit is die eerste keer in my lewe dat ek pastry gemaak het vandag julle, en it's beautiful. So I'm busy layering. My crust is with cheese in to give that braai broodjie feel. If I close it, I'm going to do a garlic butter so that you have the traditional braai broodjie garlic brood. You know?
Right now I'm thinking this shallot mix needs some flavor, so I put some coriander, garam masala, curry powder and some salt.
Ek is besig om my pastry te mold in my baking tray, maar dit maak plooie en voue as jy meer tyd teen stres.
Make big things happen by participating in this week's viewer competition.
We want to see your interpretation of this week's challenge. Bake a South African-inspired pâté en croûte using royal baking powder. Upload it onto socials by replying to the competition post and using the hashtag #TheTasteMasterSA and hashtag #BakeMoreMemories. And you could win a KitchenAid stand mixer of your very own.
Congratulations to the winner of our episode 6 viewer competition, Kumari Naidu, who created a seafood feast of fluffy bread filled with a hearty Cape Malay seafood curry. Who will influence the nation with their creative bakes? Bake more memories with tried and trusted royal baking powder.
My pastry is a little bit hard, so while that is going, I'm working on a little cream sauce. I don't know yet if I want to strain it or leave it as chunky as this.
You can also puree and then strain.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea. Thank you for that.
It's all about the Morocco in this dish, and the corn and the lamb. So because that's what we do as South Africans.
What did you add to your
I
pastry
added
dough?
some coriander seeds.
Okay, nice.
Coriander goes really nice with lamb. And I think even in like biltong and all that stuff, there's always coriander. I'm trying to make a bit of a chutney vibe just because I think chutney is so South African.
I'm gonna do some designs on the top. I want to do the South African flag, but not in color, just the frame.
My heart will go on and on. Whoop. Titanic and it went. Let's hope it doesn't sink.
All right, contestants, you guys are halfway through your bake. You have an hour and a half left.
Woo, guys, let's go. Halfway. How are we doing? How are we doing?
For my pie, I need to layer it. I add the mince, pack it down, add some raisins, add some egg, and then I repeat that process. With an hour and a half left, I am worried about this thing cooking.
I pre-sprayed my pan and I line it nicely. I'm sad that my pastry might be the last one in the oven, so we need to work fast.
How are you feeling about time?
I will not say I'm relaxed because that bread cell needs to cool off also.
Of course.
But I'm quite confident. I just hope that everything will bake through, especially the pastry itself. You don't have a choice.
Okay, we'll leave you to it.
For my lamb liver pate, I'm frying my onions with garlic and some nice seasoning just to build a nice base.
So now I'm just adding in the medjool dates in the middle.
In the middle.
Yes.
Very nice taste of the dough.
I roll out the lid of the pastry, add it on top, pinch it, egg wash it, add in a few holes, and it goes into the oven at 180 degrees. Fingers crossed, it bakes in time.
Terwyl my pâté en croute in die oond besig is om te bak, maak ek natuurlik my gelatine jelly en ek gaan my bord begin versier.
For my date and tamarind chutney, I add tamarind paste, ginger, cumin, salt, and a little bit of lemon juice. It's sweet with a bit of tang, and I've just added some chili for a little bit of heat.
I sort of just adding like a tomato, onion relish, you know, that you get at a braai. But that's just in case. If this doesn't work out, then at least I have another plan.
Ek haal my pâté en croute die oond uit en ek sien die deeg het langsaan afgeval. My hart val net daar. We'll see what we can do. The plan is to let my pâté en croute cool down. Do not touch it.
Are you sure that your pastry is cooked? Because it looks a little underbaked in the middle. I'm just worried.
My pâté en croute is in the oven, and the only problem is I chose a black pastry, so I can't tell when it's fully cooked, and I forgot to put the timer.
I am making the clay lamp. We use butter ghee and a little bit of cotton wool as a wick. We use this for lots of festivities, especially Diwali, the Festival of Lights. Butter ghee keeps the wick from burning and it also burns much longer. So it's part of my presentation today. My name is Renuka Lal Bahadur. I am 48 years old. I live in Benoni, Johannesburg. Welcome to my home. By profession, I am a registered nurse. I've worked both in the hospital and corporate field, but of late I am a home executive. I come from an Indian community, so spices is king, and I like to use those in my baking as well. My mum is my biggest inspiration because she's definitely the best cook in the world. She also taught me how to bake, and she inspires me every day to be a better version of myself. I have 2 sisters and a brother. My elder sister also bakes cakes. My second sister, Jess, we lost her 3 years ago to COVID. She was a single mum, and every day there was a smile on her face and nothing could actually get her down. She's always taught me to be very grateful for every single minute of my life and for every blessing, big or small. In March, my husband and I celebrated our 27th wedding anniversary. We love spending time at home. Most times we are in the kitchen. He doesn't do any cooking or baking, but he's really a great assistant chef. For me, baking is very relaxing. It's very therapeutic. It's where I get to create a masterpiece. And I always say bakers are magicians because they can throw a few ingredients together and then voila.
I've always told her that she's good at what she does, but she just needs to get a little bit more confidence, and I think Tastemaster is doing that for her.
I'm just checking my temperature of the filling inside. It must be at least 78 degrees. Then I know it's perfect. Dit is so goudbruin bo en dis hoe ek dit wil hê. Ja, ek wil sommer sing hier kom die bokke.
Time is running out. I need to take this pate and croûte out of the oven and get it into the blast chiller.
The sweetness of the nuts will complement the savory part, and I did put a small amount of jalapeno inside this bake.
It's coming out of the oven, it looks nice, but I do see a lot of liquid.
Right, bakers, we have half an hour left.
Lekker guys, let's finish strong. Let's finish strong. Get those bakes cooled down.
I'm trying to fry some coriander and mint. I don't know how it'll go, but let's see. So we need, so easy, just so easy.
It must not go.
Maar Philip, het lijkt prachtig. Ik meen, yes, hoe snel als dat color, hè?
It's beautiful, and I really like the extra little detail that you put up.
South African flag.
Exactly, I think it's very smart.
How did your bake come out? Is that it? Is that the final
That
product?
is it. That is my final product. I'm just waiting for it to cool down a little bit so that I can add
How's it going?
some. It's okay.
Get this in the fridge, get it to cool down so you can put the jelly in because it is rather warm. We're tight on time.
Okay.
I put my gelatin layer in my pate croûte. Everything looks good, it's just this gelatin layer that I am so scared of. I'm making sure nobody opens up this thing, and I'm just gonna run last minute. Everybody is on their tippy toes and moving, and I'm just standing there like, okay, blast chiller work, okay, blast chiller work.
What if it's stuck in?
If it's stuck in, you just take a knife and you just run it around the edges.
With 10 minutes to go, there is chaos in the kitchen. I'm just panicking because I need to put this gelatin broth into this pie.
Ek is baie trots op wat ek gemaak het. Vraag is, gaan dit uit my pan uitkom? Nou moet ek het flip na die regte kant. 1, 2, 3, tip. Oh my Gucci. Ach man. Biggest mistake of my life.
Oh, I have a soggy base.
Gonna run home now if this thing don't come out.
There's literally 1 minute left and I actually need to get the gelatin into my pie.
Looking around at my fellow contestants, I think shabba-dabba-doo, cuckoo, die mense het nie gekom om te speel nie.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's it. Stop baking, everyone. Well done.
Ek is trots.
Wasn't easy. I just hope my gelatin sets and my pastry is well cooked.
I did it. I haven't even in my life heard about a pate en croute, so this is what Larry did. Will it be enough to save you, Richard? I don't know.
That was really intense. I don't know about the gelatin, but I'm hoping that the flavors are all right.
This was such a tough challenge. I feel like if I had a bit more time, I would have gotten it A+.
Up next, after cooling their bakes, it's the moment of truth as the contestants cut into their pâté en croûte.
Better never rests, so be the star to take your baking to the next level with Capitec.
Do it like this. Do it like get it, move it, own it. Do it like this. Bespoke.
Okay, judges, so I mean, not a mad rush at the end there. It felt like there was a peaceful ending to this challenge, which means that we should be getting like the best version of what they set out to do.
The time management was well, but maybe for some places they've picked the wrong areas. They cut a little bit of baking time, didn't allow the cooling the right time, and that's what we're going to see for results now when we cut into it.
As the old saying goes, the proof is in the pudding, or in this case, the proof is in the pate. Let's bring on the first bake.
Ja, zenuwachtig, maar ek hoop en ek bid vir die beste.
How's it, Philip?
Tussen die boom en die bas.
Okay, seems like you kind of live there, so no worries. Listen, this looks great. It looks beautiful and it's thoughtful and it's well presented, and I feel like you took on a lot today, but they executed well. Now, obviously a part of this bake is there's a big reveal.
Whatever's happening inside, we just have to wait and see.
I think the pastry looks beautiful.
Thank you very much.
And you were concerned about the nachi glaze?
I take my words back. It's beautiful, really. You should be very proud.
Thank you, chef. As ek die pâté en croûte mos nou sny. Ja. En die gelatin mengsel het nie geset nie en mense sap kom bys.
I like the pastry. I think it keeps its structure well, good flavor and texture in that. Good choices of your meat. Your marroch is nice, really, and I like that jalapeno kick. It adds a bit of value in a classic dish. I love pate. I wasn't crazy about yours, eh? It's seriously grainy.
I really enjoyed it. I think it's slightly under-seasoned. However, the nachos that you put with it really balanced well with it. There's a bit of rosemary in here that really goes well with that. That works great with the lamb as well. Obviously, as we did see, it did leak a bit. So I think that just the resting afterwards, allowing that gel to set, might not have happened, or you might not have had enough gelatine in there as well.
The pastry, the bake is beautiful. I would have maybe added a little bit more salt into your pastry itself, but other than that, I can't fault it.
I don't know if I did enough to impress the judges, and will it even save me from this elimination?
He got the basics. He just needed a bit more refinement. There you go.
Ek hoop en vertrou dat Zola, Fritz, San-Mari en Jesper dit gaan like.
You're all smiles. You finished way before the time was up. Did everything go according to plan, even though you kind of sprung a leak near the end?
Girl. It was supposed to be a pate en croute, and then it ended up being a bread, and then it ended up being in Parma, and then it ended up being Titanic. Toe ek my pate croute sny, toe voel ek, oh, something is not right here at all.
The draw.
The pork sausage.
Rauw vark. Whoa.
Did you use a thermometer to test it at all? No.
Yeah, my engel.
That was a tip given to you.
Yeah, you guys
free
did.
in the masterclass.
Yeah.
Larry, because obviously we can't taste the raw pork, we'll taste some of the pastry and maybe some of the cooked.
Yeah.
Around
Okay. Ek het gedink, ek het baie goed gedoen. Ek het die resep gevolg stap vir stap.
Lariri, it is such a shame. The actual flavor of the boerewors part is actually really great. And you get the pop of that sweet smoor is a really lovely combination. But unfortunately, we can't look past the fact that the pastry is completely raw. I mean, some of it is still literal ntlama, raw dough. But I commend you for making short crust pastry for the very first time.
Thank you.
Hopefully, you'll know for next time. And please, whenever you get tips in the masterclass for checking temperature and all of those little things, keep them in mind always and apply those for your bake.
It's very unfortunate, but now you've learned.
Yeah, I'm very proud of what I made. San-Mari and Jesper, I'm sorry.
The flavor that he had going in the sort of meat part that we could taste.
It tastes like a braai.
Right?
Yeah.
Walking up to the judges is always a tense moment. Your heart is really beating so fast.
This looks absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Seems like it was a good day in the kitchen for you.
It was a good day in the kitchen. It's just time was always going to be a factor.
Your pastry is beautiful.
Thank you.
It is. It's mesmerizing.
Thank you.
Please put her out of her misery and cut into it.
I'm super nervous because I need to cut through this bake. I need to make sure the layers are there and that the flavors that I promised are actually there.
It's beautiful. There's a lovely, homey, traditional flavor to this. Everything's well seasoned. We can tell you've tasted your way through this, which is fantastic. The best part of it for me was that date in the middle, because it just brought everything together again. It is fascinating to try something that's so traditionally French, done in an international way and executed so well.
Thank you so much.
Very well done.
Under the pressure that you experience in this kitchen, still to execute with so much technical detail, that side for me is just so well balanced. It is such a beautiful contribution to the bake.
I just have one thing to say and one thing to ask. Can you put the rest of this in a jar so I can take it home?
You can.
You can leave the pastry for me, please.
Will you remember that during the verdict?
I think the judges will be stunned by the visual aspect of the pate and croute, but it's all about the inside.
I think your vision for what you want to execute today is very clear and your story is very clear, so I commend you for executing that.
How challenging was it baking with a charcoal-based?
Ooh, extremely
pastry?
challenging. I definitely had to feel and poke that thermometer in a few times and pray. I'm cutting it through and I'm realizing it's a little bit tough to cut through. So the meat feels a little bit too dry and grainy, but I just hope at this point flavor pulls me through.
Natasha, I quite enjoyed the flavor of your filling. I definitely got the biltong vibes that you were going for. It was a tad dry. The sauce, if you eat it in combination with the meat, it then brings back that moisture and the flavor is really pronounced, and that's really wonderful to eat. The pastry for me is overworked. It is very tough when you eat it, but I commend you for getting a good bake on it.
You have managed to compact it very nicely, which makes for a nice cut in the pate. A little bit of fat would have added a bit of the moisture back in. The biltong has a lovely aftertaste afterwards. I really enjoy that. I enjoyed the mushrooms in there as well as the creamy sauce.
Everybody here commends your effort and your innovation today. Good concept.
Thank you. I don't know how to feel. I really do not know how to feel. I'm actually quite emotional. I've been so average and I want to stand out.
Going into judging, I'm really feeling very nervous. I've been here so many times.
Willie, this looks great off the bat. How was today?
Today was really challenging, but I'm so glad that I'm done with it.
Well, I think the rough puff,
Rough, keyword.
No one else did rough puff, so that's something that you should be very proud of. You did something different.
What I'm hoping to see cutting this pie open is a layer of gelatin, because that was the one thing I was worried about.
Oh, there's the egg.
Okay.
And there's no gelatin, but everything else looks really cute.
This is advanced in terms of the flavor components and the merging of those flavor components. I think your chutney is absolutely delicious. I really, really love that. I would have omitted the smoor side completely. I don't think it adds anything. I think the bobotie theme, the egg component that was placed in there, that is all great sauce.
I think the pastry would have worked out. It's just undercooked. The raisin chutney is banging. It's really nice, and it brings that whole bobotie right in there. I would not have missed a little bit more salt in the meat itself. I see the potential with the coriander seeds that do come through in the pastry. However, if it was just baked a little bit further, it would have come through even more.
As soon as I took the first bite, it took me back to my childhood. The bobotie really came out, and I thought that was brilliant.
I love those pops of raisins on the inside. That chutney, 10 out of 10, really delicious. I'm glad you were brave and you tried puff pastry. Next time, a bit more brave and a bit more folds, and we're gonna slowly get there.
After today's bake, I really understand how important it was to pay attention to the masterclass. The flavor's lovely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Some tough decisions.
And it is a double elimination, so even tougher. But I think that they could all be proud of themselves. I mean, this was no easy feat. Yeah, it's gonna be a debatable decision.
Okay, well, let's go make it.
Yep.
Coming up after a tough day and mixed reactions from the judges, who will be heading home? Do you own a small baking or home business? A prize of 50,000 Rand is waiting to be claimed, courtesy of the Tastemaster SA and Capitec Business. To enter, post a video to Instagram sharing your small business story, your journey to success so far, and how you'll use this Capitec boost to further the growth of your business. Tag Capitec Bank and Tastemaster SA and use hashtag Better Never Rests and hashtag the Tastemaster SA to enter. Entries close on Sunday the 21st of July. T's and C's apply and can be found on the tastemaster.co.za. Who will influence the nation with their creative bakes? Bake more memories with tried and trusted royal baking powder.
I am really proud of everyone, and the fact that 2 people are going home today, it's really sad.
Contestants, I'm sure all of you will agree with me that today was an exceptionally tough challenge. But each and every one of you produced a deeply inspired South African version of a pâté en croûte. And for that, I commend you.
So we all know that it is an elimination challenge. So 2 people will be going home. But before we tell you who those people are, we do want to acknowledge the best bake of the day. This particular bake, we felt that the pastry was beautiful, flavorful, and crisp. We thought the structural integrity of the bake was sound. And most of all, we thought the accompanying chutney was sublime. Today's best bake belonged to Renuka.
I'm super excited to have the best dish of the day. To still be in this competition and be in the top 6 is truly so amazing, and I'm gonna give it my all.
The first person who will be leaving the Tastemaster kitchen today is Lariri.
I had a gut feeling, ek het geweet.
Just so many things, unfortunately, that didn't go your way today, but not for a lack of trying and effort, and I know you will be sorely missed. Thank you, my friend.
Baie dankie julle vir die geleentheid, die opportunity, guys. Ek het 'n family gekry in Tastemaster. Zola en Fritz, julle is nog altyd rolmodelle gewees vir my, so thank you.
Oh, thank you, Larry. It's been a pleasure.
The next person who will be eliminated from the Tastemaster kitchen today is Natasha.
You know, you live and you learn. As a chef, you need to know how to take those punches and just work from it and let it fuel you instead of break you.
I'm so sorry, but At this stage of the competition, it's really just smallest of factors that make the biggest of difference.
Ooh.
Take your time.
It's been the most amazing experience as a chef. I've made, like Freddy said, family. And every single challenge, every single day has been learning. Not only from masterclasses, from fellow contestants, and it's been just a beautiful experience, and it's not the end of me. There's so much more potential. There's so much more that I can do, and I'm just going to soar from here.
Thank you for sharing your amazing passion for baking. Oh, we're going to miss you terribly. But like you said, onwards and upwards from here. Please say your final goodbyes and hang up your apron and leave the Tastemaster kitchen.
Sad, but yeah, it's life. You haven't seen the last of Larry, I can say that. You guys must be ready.
You're an amazing person, Natasha. Whatever you see, never say I can't do it. Take that opportunity and just go for it. You never know what the outcome is, and I always believe what's for you will find you, and that's just how life goes.
Join us again next week as the top 6 are treated to a gourmet high tea experience. But they must pay attention to what they eat, because this treat comes with terms and conditions. From our family to yours, the Tastemaster SA, made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.